Calista. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for agreeing for this interview. Please take a seat.
So Calista, what do you do during your off days or after work?
I enjoy learning new languages in my free time. I'm learning Korean for now. When I tell others that I actually enjoy learning languages, a lot of them do not find that it's a fun hobby. In fact, they think that it's quite a boring thing to do. But for me, I think that it's very interesting. It provides me something different and it helps me to understand the Korean culture a lot better. In fact, in the long run, I even feel that it might come in handy if I have to interact with Koreans in the future.
How much time do you spend on your hobby in a day?
Most of the days, I spend about 30 minutes to an hour to do some quick revision on the language. Sometimes I might be a little bit busier, so I have to make use of maybe my morning or evening commute time to read up and do some quick worksheets to revise. Sometimes I even have to make use of maybe lunch breaks. But day to day, I think usually about 30 minutes to an hour.
When do you start learning Korean?
I started taking an interest in languages when I was in primary school. So when I was younger, I would actually spend a lot of late nights reading the dictionary and writing down new words that I haven't come across before into an exercise book. So I name it my word bank. What I will do is that I will write it down into the book, then the next day I will probably start to look through the dictionary to see what it means. And then I'll try and put the new vocab that I've learned into my daily conversations. When I was younger, I also had an interest in the Malay language, mainly because I had quite a number of Malay friends around me. So when they were talking, I got interested because I feel that I wanted to also be involved with the conversations. As a result, I started to even write down all the words that they spoke that I did not understand. And then after which I would then look through my Malay English dictionary to find out the actual meanings. If I still don't get the meanings that I don't get the meanings I wanted from the dictionary, I'll ask my friends to and get them to tell me what it means.
Where did you learn the Korean languages?
I actually take my lessons at a school in Tanjong Pagar. It's a Korean language school that specializes only in Korean language itself. So they cover quite a wide range of lessons. For any one of you who are keen, it's called Sejong. And so I actually decided to enroll in this school because I felt that they specialize in just this Korean language itself, so they probably will be a better choice for me to choose from.
Who did you learn it with?
I actually started to learn Korean on my own because I was waiting for school to start then, so I decided that I wanted to get a hobby to fill up my free time.
Was it intimidating when you attend a class alone? Some of our respondents have said that they prefer to go in pairs or groups.
Not at all, actually, because the classes are quite fast-paced. In class, we only have about 1.5 hours to absorb all the information we are given. So there's quite minimal interaction in class, only maybe some special cases whereby we have to do some quick discussions amongst groups or one or two people. So that's the only time that we will have some discussion. Other than that, everyone will be quite focused in paying attention to the class itself.
What do you gain from learning Korean language?
What I find meaningful about it is that I can gain a whole new skill. It helps me to really better my communication skills with other people. During my journey of learning Korean, I'm exposed to a lot of new vocabulary, a lot of new culture. It helps me to really see their culture in a whole new view. And in the past, when I did not know any of the Korean language, when I watched all the Korean shows or reality shows, it was only about the visuals and I had to read off subtitles. But sometimes I'm quite happy when I realize I know how to actually understand what they mean. I know some of their slangs, and one of the thing I'm really very excited about is that one day I probably wouldn't need subtitles anymore when I watch Korean shows.
Did you decide to learn Korean because you were a fan of Korean dramas and the K-pop culture?
This might be surprising, but actually I did not start learning Korean because of the K-pop culture. I know that a lot of people actually do start learning the language because they wanted to understand their idols better, but not for me. Basically, I felt that just knowing Chinese and English wasn't enough for me, and I wanted to challenge myself to know a new language altogether.
How do you feel after learning this Korean language?
I feel very enriched each time I walk away from the class, because every time I leave the class, I learn something new, be it new vocabulary, new grammar, new slangs. There's really a lot to learn. So I get quite excited and quite satisfied every time I end a class, because I know that I'm one step closer to my language goal I set for myself in this language. So I think it's quite meaningful.
Last question. What are your future language plans? Do you plan to learn any more languages?
Definitely, I think I'm going to take up more languages in future. I think some of the languages that I really have in mind are maybe Bahasa Indonesia, Thai, maybe even Spanish or French in the future. Anyway, I just want to challenge myself further after I have mastered this language. So I'm quite open to learning a lot of different and new languages altogether.